Creating a course is not always easy. It's important to know that you can find help. Kate here, we're going to talk about how to choose someone to help you along the journey using a coach, because coaches are great. So I want you to think for a minute about the type of course you would love to create, just like if you need to close your eyes and consider the image of 100 or 1,000 or maybe 100,000 people who've taken your course or your coaching program, and they're seeing the results that they wanted from your course. Now, just having expertise is often not enough to make that happen. You need to not only have expertise in your particular thing, you need to have expertise in a lot more, right? If information were enough, then Google would be your biggest competitor, because it's a lot more than just sharing the information about your expertise. A lot of times people approach course creation as though it's a monologue, just one person doing all the talking. But that's not actually great course design. Great course design is so much more than taking all of the information you have and breaking it up into little packets. And selling your course is a lot more than just knowing how to break up your packets. So there's so much more than that. And because it's more than that, that's when you realize that in order to see your dream happening of 100 or 1,000 or 100,000 people benefiting from what you have to offer, it's going to take a lot more than just maybe what you can do on your own. Eventually, we'll talk about a whole team. That's in the next video. We'll talk about how to get people to help you in your team. But right now, we just want to talk about getting a coach, because that should be your first help. In order to make money or have an impact with your course, you're going to need basically two things, right? You're going to need to make a great course, and you're going to need to sell that course. Simple, right? Make a course, sell the course. Maybe not so simple, right? You might need help making your course. You might need help selling your course. You might even need help making and selling your course. If you're new to business, you might need help running a business. And that's where a coach comes in. Like we said, you can get a lot of information from Google. You can go and find Google information, and you can get YouTube videos just like this one who show you how to make a course. And sometimes that's great. You can get a lot of information. You might have some talent at doing it. But, Google is just information. It's not a coach. A coach does so much more. So I want to give you 5 tips on finding and hiring the right coach. So tip number 1, take a good look at what you want to create. Now, you may not know exactly how to get there, but to have an idea of what that vision looks like, go find yourself a picture or imagine exactly what you want to happen. Now, for me, I have, in addition to the Make Your Course Great, where I want to help tons of people create great courses, I also have another side hustle thing that's really dear to my heart called Make Your Mark. And I have this picture of women coming together and like being united and supporting and helping each other. And, that's the type of value that's core to my business. But that vision of what I want to accomplish is still in my head. I don't exactly know how to get there. I'm still working on that particular journey. But I've seen small milestones that have put me in that direction, and I'm so excited about that. And I have surrounded myself with great mentors in that particular effort, which is great. So for you, the same thing. What is your end result look like? What does that final product do for the people that you want? Now, I'm not talking about what does your course look like when it's done. I'm talking about what does the impact of having your course out in the world, what does that look like? If you're creating apple pies, perhaps you see women at home with beautiful apple pies, then they're setting them out for dinner and their kids are enjoying them. Maybe that's your vision. Or maybe you want to help empower women, like, some of the visions that I have. So maybe you see women, supporting each other, and there's less backbiting and people are just loving on each other and giving each other encouragement, and that whole straighten your crown type thing. Or maybe you want to help people recover from trauma. So you see somebody going from, not being able to function in many fundamental ways to being able to realize the full potential that God has given her. So there's some sort of vision that you have, and that impact of that vision needs to be clear in your head so you know kind of what you want to create. This is super important because when you select a coach, you want a coach to help support that vision. You want to share that vision with your coach when you select him or her so that you can like get some of that practical how-to steps along their way. And so that is tip number one. Really take a hard look at what you really want to create in terms of impact, and clarify that for your head so that you know exactly what you're going to look for when you look for a coach or a partner to help create that vision for you. The second tip is to ask for recommendations. Do you know anyone who does something similar, or who started a business, or who has a coach? I've had several coaches, and I have several that I would recommend depending on what you're looking for. And just like me, I'm sure there's plenty of other people out there who have recommendations. It can be as simple as saying, hey, I'm looking for a coach to help with fill in the blank, and then putting it out as a post in a group or in Facebook and just see if anybody has any recommendations for you. A post like that is likely to garner a lot of interest, and people have a lot of recommendations. This is a great place to start. Check your candidates ahead of time. So when you see those recommendations, some of those recommendations may be perfectly aligned with you, and you can put them into the candidate pool. And then some of those people that they recommend, you're like, well, they're helping me with something I already know, or they have some values that are off for me. So that's great. To have candidates that people recommend that aren't a good fit for you just makes the selection a lot easier. You can eliminate the candidates that just don't fit what you're looking for. So the tip number 3 that I have is look for a values alignment. This is so important because what you're trying to do is likely tied to some value that you have. When you really, really think about the purpose for our courses, the purpose for our wanting to help other people with something we know. Perhaps you're helping somebody pass a test or become a mechanic, or like back to that apple pie. It usually ties to something that's important to you. Why is that important to you? And that value, maybe it's empowerment, maybe it's opportunity, maybe it's people discovering their potential, maybe it's helping the world be a better place in some form or fashion that is really tied to a core value for you. If your coach does not support those same core values, then please do not select that coach. Try to find a coach whose core values are so aligned with your own that you know they're going to be your biggest partner. What can often happen is that you'll select a coach who's a great salesperson. By the way, having a coach who can sell very well is a great, great skill. You want that. But a lot of times people select coaches because that coach was great at selling, but they're not really thinking that you are in the driver's seat. It is your choice to select a coach or to not select a coach. And this doesn't necessarily need to be devaluing another person or taking up their time. Don't let the guilt make a decision for you. If somebody is not a good fit, don't go with them. Don't waste your time. Okay, so that was tip number 3, to look for a values alignment. Tip number 4 is to interview your final choices. This means that you want to get on a call with them and you want to interview them. Now, a lot of times what happens is you'll get on a call with these coaches and they run that conversation. And that's fine. You can kind of get an idea for how they run the conversation. But at some point, you need to be thinking, I'm interviewing them, I'm selecting them, I'm hiring them. So I need to make sure that my questions are answered to my satisfaction. So don't get on the call with a coach and let them run the call and at the end say, do you have any questions? And you're like, no, I'm good. Don't do it. Get your questions ahead of time. Ask the same questions of every single person that you interview so that you can compare answers. Make the questions important questions, the questions that are important for you. You might want to get an idea of them and saying, when you talk to me, what is something that you see about me that you feel differentiates me from other people in my market? See if they like you, if they can pick up on what makes you unique and special, because that is going to be a good indicator. Another one is, this is my vision for what I want to create? What are some of the ways that you've helped other people create something similar? Or what are some of the ways that you might envision this happening? Kind of get an idea. Like a lot of times they can't answer that really in particular without getting to know you more, but you can get an idea of what types of answers they might give you. So those are some of the interview questions that you might want to work with. And please choose interview questions that are important to you, not just some of my suggestions. Tip number 5, this is a good one. Trust your gut. Like when you make that final selection, look for someone who believes in you and trust your gut. Don't look at the price tag. Don't compare, well, this person's 3,000 and this person's 7,000. That doesn't matter. What you're looking for is someone who believes in you. Someone who doesn't believe in you for a smaller price tag is not worth it. Someone who believes in you for a larger price tag, it might be a stretch to make that budget work, and you might not be able to make the selection right away. You might have to follow them in their free groups and in the free content until you can make that particular investment. But recognize this, when you create your course and when your vision is done, you're going to make a great course and sell that great course, right? Someone is going to invest in you. Someone is going to say, that is a course or that is a coaching program that I know is going to make the difference for me. So I'm going to get my wallet out and I'm going to pay for it. In the same way, a really good mentor, a really good coach, and I'm talking about the right mentor, the right coach, is worth the investment. Not everyone's the right coach, and that's why you really want to think very carefully about how you select them. But when you do select them, make sure they're a good fit and then make the investment. Now, all that being said, I do coach people in creating courses, but I'm not for everybody. I recognize that. There are people who are aligned with what I do and they know what I can't do. I'm great at making a course. I'm getting better at learning how to sell courses because marketing isn't my background. I have 20 years experience in creating courses and 2 years in learning how to market and sell courses. So definitely have abundance of experience in one area and not so much experience in the other area. But there may be people who are the exact right fit for you. And I'm hoping that you'll find them to realize that you're not alone in making your vision happen. You can find a mentor, a coach, a partner who can see that vision with you and help you make that happen. So go make it happen, and I'll see you in the next video.